Hey everybody. Ooh, wow, I am very large. Ooh, let me fix that. I didn't realize I'd be so big in the screen. My giant noggin right there. Jeez. Let's zoom out a little bit, shall we? Is that a little, no, a little bit more like that. There we go. Hey, it's a little bit more comfortable. Not right there in your face, you know? So, how's everybody doing today? I hope you guys are all doing fine. Boy, this is going to be, I guess this is kind of another heavy subject. I got all these heavy subjects that I want to talk about. I get, I get these kind of questions, especially because I'm working with junior developers and stuff and beginners. And I thought today's imposter syndrome topic would be a really good one. So if you guys don't know, if you don't already know, every weekday starting at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, before I get started at my job at WazU, I like to just do these little coffee with Steves so that you guys can just kind of chill and hang out with me and talk about some topic that whatever's on my mind. Sometimes I open it up to the floor and let you guys just ask me whatever you want to ask. And you guys can obviously come in on the live chat and just ask your questions away. And every Friday, in fact, is a live call-in show where it's kind of like open mic. It's just anything you guys want to talk about. You guys can actually come and talk to me directly and get your voices heard on the stream too. Last time we did that, it didn't go so well. No one apparently wanted to call in, but that's all right. That's cool. We're fine with that. So one more thing before I get started talking about imposter syndrome is I just wanted to mention, if you guys want to join and be a member, it's really, really easy. It's only $5 a month. You guys get direct access to me. You guys can ask me your questions. There's a form that you guys fill out that ask me questions directly. You can, even send me code if you want to. You can send me your databases or screen captures. There's all sorts of ways, but at least it starts that conversation. Whereas, just trying to answer questions in the comment section isn't always that effective, and it doesn't really allow for a back and forth. It's just a little difficult to get some of those things done. So if you guys do want to have direct conversation with me and get some help directly from me, you just sign up and be a member. You'll get access to this form. You guys can fill it out at any time, and I respond back to those. So also, along with that, you get 10% off in my Teespring store, which, I've got some decent merch in there. I got some cups, some mugs, some t-shirts, all sorts of good stuff. Trying to grow on that. We're going to see if I can get a graphic designer to kind of give me some better ideas of some stuff in there. If you do want to sign up, it's pretty simple. You just go over here to my webpage, to my channel. You go to programmingmadeeasy.com, and that'll redirect you right to my channel. You just click on that join button right there. And don't worry, if you don't see that join button, all that means is that that YouTube has already, or YouTube doesn't offer memberships in your country. And that's not a big deal. You can also go over here to support the channel. And if you feel like you want to donate some money, when you do that and you want to say that hey, I'm paying this money as a member, all you have to do is when you go through the process to send this to me, you can pass me a little note and just say, hey, this is for membership. And I'll have to try to keep note of that. It's not as convenient as what YouTube does for their join, but I will do my best to try to accommodate everybody, because I know I get a wide variety of people from all over the globe that want to come in and help me out and get help from me. So that's how you guys can sign up. So let's go ahead and talk. I'm going to dig right into this imposter syndrome. This is something you guys may have heard about. As a matter of fact, my wife and I, we were watching a TV show, Big Bang Theory, just the other night. And they brought it up. They brought up the imposter syndrome, which was kind of funny. It's starting to become, as a matter of fact, I think it was in 2017, it was actually officially added to some sort of dictionary. I think it was the Webster's Dictionary as an actual thing. It's something that I think a lot of people experience, and in fact, it's about 70% of the people in the world at one point or another will experience imposter syndrome. So what is imposter syndrome? Well, it's kind of this self-perceived intellectual phoniness. Like, I'm fake. Like, I don't really know enough to be considered a professional, or I don't know enough to be able to be successful in my job, and I need to do more. So it's just kind of like not feeling good enough to be doing that job. Okay. And this kind of counterbalances to stuff that I've been talking about recently about, the 737 MAX, which I've watched as my subscriber numbers plummet as I talk about 737 MAX. So, in my perspective on that, of course, as most of you guys know, is maybe we should start setting some sort of standards, some sort of level of acceptance in order to be defined as a professional. And in some ways, I actually think that might also help with the imposter syndrome, at least in our industry. If we have some sort of test that you have to complete or pass that says you are now officially a professional in this industry, then that's kind of this certain certification of level of achievement that can be pointed to that says, yes, I am now known in the industry as this XYZ professional. And it's not just this loosely defined thing. And it's funny too, because in the golf world where I used to be, I was very heavy into the golf industry. There's this question of when do you become a golf professional? And I forget who it was, but there was a very famous golfer a long time ago. I think it might have been Ben Hogan, actually. Or no, maybe it was, well, anyway, it doesn't really matter, but they were asked, so somebody wrote him a letter, says, when do I know I'm a professional? Or when can I call myself a professional? And he just basically responded back, you are when you say you are, right? And that's kind of the golf industry. Like, you're a golf professional just because you say you are. Now, obviously, they have the PGA program that you can go through to be officially certified as a PGA professional. But you can define yourself as a professional and not be certified. That's not necessarily a thing. So there's a lot of industries that have that kind of, when do we define ourselves, or how do we define ourselves based upon some sort of static criteria. And I think, at least in our industry, that would be helpful, having some sort of way of establishing that you are officially a professional, you've gotten your certification because you've completed these tasks. But I think that we can go beyond that. I didn't want to make I didn't want to make this video about that, okay? What I really want to talk about is how do you know you're experiencing imposter syndrome, and how can you overcome it, okay? So if you start to feel like you haven't really earned your success, right? Like, I'm in this job, I don't really feel like I belong, I don't think I know enough, I'm seeing other people around me and they seem to know way more than I do. That's another common one. And really, you're kind of feeling this fear of being found out, right? Don't forget to drink your coffee, by the way. So you're worried that you're going to be found out. And this is especially true, I think, in the development community, because there's just so much stuff to learn. And it seems like, when you're talking to somebody else who knows their area, it's like, wow, this person knows a lot about that particular area of expertise. They know a lot about they know a lot about chip repair and and board repairs. Like, I like to watch Louis Rossmann all the time when he's fixing Apple computers. And it's just kind of amazing, some of the knowledge that's out there, and you just kind of feel like, wow, I'm incompetent compared to that. So, even if you have some success at certain things, sometimes that doesn't really change the perception that you have either. Like, just because you feel like you've gotten somewhere, it feels like a hollow victory. Like, oh yes, I accomplished that, but really, did I really do that? Because I used Google to accomplish that. Like, I just basically copied and pasted code from Google in order to get that done. That doesn't really, okay, I did it. I fixed the thing, but did I really? I mean, all I did was just do a little research. And that's kind of especially for junior developers, beginner developers, this is a very prominent problem. And really kind of, when you're going through any sort of educational process and coming out of that educational process and you're starting to enter into the workforce, you also can be confronted with all of these interviews where they're asking you these technical questions and you're like, I have no idea. A good point. It's kind of funny because I just had this conversation with one of our senior mentors yesterday where they were saying, hey, is it a good idea for me to move on into learning C++ from my JavaScript? Like I feel like I've got the front end really down. I really understand it. And then I'm like, okay, well, in my perspective, what I always try to tell people is make sure you really understand something before you move on. Like I want you to expand your knowledge, no doubt. You should always be trying to expand your knowledge. But you should try to make sure that you understand at least that one thing that you feel confident. Make sure you really do know what it is you're talking about. So I started throwing at him some real technical questions like, what's a closure? How is JavaScript handling concurrency? And what's the, like what is context binding, and how did ECMAScript 2015 change to fix context binding? And like these are questions that, even though I know he's a very smart individual, he knows what he's doing and he helps a lot of students. Like I was throwing these questions and he was like, oh man, boy, you know my Achilles heel. And I'm like, that's because it's the Achilles heel for a lot of people. Like those are questions that that are far more technical. But if you can get those down, then you can prove you understand that concept. And that was kind of my point, is like, if you don't even know those things, why would you move on to something else, right? If you don't really know a subject, why would you move on? So there are times when you can do that, right? Like I just need to know a little bit about this specific subject to get a task done. But if you're planning on building your career on something, you better know it, right? That's kind of the thing. So being confronted with those kind of questions, like I'm trying to help prepare him for that circumstance where he's going to be in a technical interview and he's going to be confronted with these questions and he's not going to know the answers to them. He's going to start feeling that imposter syndrome, right? He's going to start feeling like, boy, what am I even doing going to these interviews? I can't even answer these technical questions. So I'm trying to prepare him a little bit for that. And the last thing I want to talk about with imposter syndrome is understand it's not a disease and it's not an abnormality, right? It's not something that you need to, I mean, if you want to go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist and go talk to them about it, or a sociologist, you go right ahead. I'm not telling you don't do that. By all means, if you think that that's the right way to go, you should do that. And you may have some other anxiety issues that need to be addressed by a psychiatrist or a psychologist. But I think if you start to assess the situation and you start to see, well, it's kind of my self-perception of what's going on, then and understand also that it's your self-perception and other people have it too. Again, like it's estimated about 70% of people will experience it sometime in their lifetime. So that's a lot of people that will experience this. And I'm going to start off with one really great quote. It comes from not a really well-known developer, but he does work for Stripe. His name is Patrick McKenzie, and he has a quote that says, "Every great developer you know got there by solving problems they were unqualified to solve until they actually did it." And that's precisely the point. Like in our industry especially, you're constantly just solving problems that are new to you. And it's hard to look back sometimes and look and see, like, this is all the stuff that I've learned. This is all the stuff that I know now, because we're constantly trying to solve bugs for problems that we don't know the answer to already. So we're constantly in this thing of researching, right? So it's very easy for us to feel like, gosh, I'm phony, I'm fake, I don't really know enough, I shouldn't be doing this job. Look at all these other people that know way more than I do. I'm going to get found out. Like somebody's going to figure out, Steve, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And admittedly, sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about. But that's exactly the opportunity that I have to learn, right? That's kind of my, okay, you tell me how I'm wrong. You tell me what's going on. I remain open to learning. And that's one of the key differences too, I think, in order to overcome imposter syndrome, is first start to accept the fact that you can be wrong, okay? And do so publicly. Be willing to publicly say, I don't know. I don't get it. Because when you start to see that the response from others isn't so bad, then you start to lose some of that fear, right? You start to lose some of that fear when you start to accept that you are wrong about things. Hey, I'm willing to be told I don't understand, I don't know something. I'm willing to say I don't know something and have somebody inform me about it. Then now I have an informed opinion and now I'm not wrong anymore, right? And now I'm not an imposter because I oh, hey, that's great. And now, that can start a discussion to help create some camaraderie too with that person that I asked. And they can start to trust you a little bit more with what your knowledge is as well, because they see that you are willing to learn from them, and they can sometimes want to learn from you. Okay, so that's one way. Like, publicly be willing to accept that you're wrong. That's a really hard one for a lot of people psychologically to get over. Like, I don't want to be found out. That's the fear. I don't want to be found out. And here I'm telling you, be found out. Have them find out. You don't know. And also talk about the fact that, hey, sometimes I'm worried that people are going to figure out that I don't know what I'm talking about. Because again, since 70% of the population will have experienced it at some point, chances are that person you're talking to probably has experienced it too. And if they haven't experienced it, go talk to someone else who will commiserate with you, right? Because chances are, if you talk to two people, one of them will understand it, right? And then again, it's such a popular term now. It's such a popular idea in the culture that I think everybody just understands it's going to happen. It's just kind of an accepted thing. So talking about the experience with others, be willing to be publicly wrong in front of them. And typically, again, that leads to some sort of discussion or even dissuasion. Like, other people are going to start to dissuade you from that opinion that you are an imposter. And that's being accepted by the community is one of the ways that you could definitely get over that. So another thing is simply make yourself aware and identify when you're starting to fall into those traps. When you start thinking about that way, man, am I doing this imposter syndrome thing? Like, I'm worried that Joe over here is going to figure out that I don't know this thing. Is that really that bad? Why am I so worried about that? Why don't I just ask Joe? Like, can he help me out with this? And that will often help you identify. Like, when you can identify when you're going through it, it helps you overcome it. And it's kind of one of the, going back to golf. When I used to teach, I was always telling people that we need to get you to identify and be self-aware of what you're doing. Because I can stand here all day watching you swing a golf club and tell you what you're doing wrong. But until you understand it, until you feel it, until you sense that that's what's happening, it's not going to change, right? You have to identify it. You have to fix it yourself. You have to be aware of when it's happening. And that's the same case for the imposter syndrome. You have to identify when it's happening in order to realize, oh, that's what's going on. Okay, well, this is what I need to do then. Okay, I don't need to be stressed out about this because, look, everybody else is going through it. Maybe if I just go talk to somebody about it and be willing to be wrong. Like, I'm okay with that. Maybe I just need to do more research. Another great tip is to focus on the value that you create. So, like, this is kind of part of the craftsmanship manifesto, the software craftsmanship manifesto, is to always be adding value to the product. And one of the things that you can do is just kind of look back on the value that you have provided to that circumstance, right? To your company, to the application you're building, or to other people. Like, when I start to feel sometimes about my channel and like, hey, I have people watching me on YouTube, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, but what kind of authority do I have? I kind of feel that a little bit too. I kind of feel nervous and fear, somebody's going to find out that Steve doesn't know what he's talking about. And knowing that I'm helping a lot of you guys to understand the software development stuff, understand the software development cycle, how databases work, how to write VBA code or C# code, or we're going to be doing some JavaScript here pretty soon with the web series. Like, providing that kind of support for you guys and value to you guys is really helping me be like, well, a lot of people are telling me that I'm helping them. A lot of people are saying, if it weren't for you, Steve, I wouldn't have the job I have right now. I wouldn't have built this database to go do this thing at work. And that's the value that I create. And I don't need to be afraid of that because I know that there are people that are accepting that I'm helping them. And another great tip is to stop comparing yourself to others. And this is a real easy one to do, especially for me, because I'm like going out there and I'm looking at YouTube and I'm like, man, how the heck does this person in 1 year get to 150,000 subscribers? And they're basically doing exactly the same thing I'm doing. I don't understand that. Is it the content? Is it the subject matter that I'm talking about? Is it the format of the video? And I start to really doubt myself and my abilities. And that's, again, I'm comparing myself to other people. What I really need to do is compare myself to the past, right? So when you're talking about yourself, instead of comparing yourself to other people, compare yourself to your past. Are you improving? Are you getting better? Are you doing a better job than you were 2 months ago or yesterday? Okay. And compare yourself to you, how you were. And this again, going back to my golf industry days, this was something that I was always pushing too, is you can never obtain perfection, but you can always obtain better, right? You can always get better, but you can't get perfect. So that's kind of where, trying to compare yourself to someone else, that's a terrible goalpost. Compare yourself to you. How were you doing? How did you get better? And so, again, this is the same thing I'm doing with these Coffee with Steves. Like, I'm trying to figure out ways of making this a better experience for you guys. Get more numbers, get more people to come and watch the channel. Find ways of I got this failing Teespring store. I got to be honest, like nobody's buying anything from there, right? And I got to figure out why. I got to find out, okay, is it just the products that I'm offering? Is it the designs people don't like? Like that's something that if I really want to get into, I should probably start doing in order to improve that store to see what is it that you guys want. And I kind of try to reach out to you guys once in a while and say, what do you guys want out of there? If you guys have some designs that you want me to put up there, or if you got something that you would like to see on there, just let me know and I'll be happy to put it up there. But I'm constantly like trying to figure out how can I improve upon this? What can I do to get better at this thing? That's what you guys got to do too. If you're starting to feel that imposter syndrome, is look back at the value you've created and start to assess, am I getting even better? Because then it's not about other people, it's about yourself. And you can start to see, yes, I have value, I provide value, and I'm getting better at it. Okay. And again, embrace that feeling, right? Understand, hey, it's normal. Okay, this happens to everybody. Well, not everybody, it's 70% of the people. So if you can learn to embrace that feeling and start to say, you know what? All this really means is I don't think that I know enough. So I should go learn more, right? Use that as kind of a motivation to go learn more. Go. If you feel that you're really that incompetent, go learn more about it. Right? And then once you do know more about it and you can have a conversation with other people about that topic, then you're going to start to feel a little bit more confident in it. So know that it's normal and use that somewhat as a motivation. That fear is like, hey, I've got to go learn this stuff because if I don't, I'm going to be falling behind in my industry. All right. So the last thing is like these self-affirming statements, right? So if I'm telling myself, look, I add value, I'm getting better, those are self-affirming things, right? That they're ways of saying I provide something that is good, and I'm not astray. I have no reason to fear because look, I'm just trying to do what I can. I'm trying to do the best that I can in the circumstances that I've got, and I'm continuously improving. I'm doing great for myself. I'm doing great because, well, I just spit all over my microphone. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm doing great for what I'm trying to do. I'm helping all of these people with my YouTube channel. There's no reason for me to fear or look at others and say, wow, look at their success. Why am I not that successful? I'm just going to go about doing what I'm doing because you know what? I'm doing good things. And as long as you've got that same attitude, you're doing good things, you're helping people, or you're pushing for that goal that you've got, right? Whether it's to make more money or earn more money in your job, or to get a job, or to make some product work faster, or just simply having a better design process. Like whatever the value is that you're adding to the system, identify those things and be reaffirming to yourself that, hey, we're doing great. And again, that quote, I love this quote. Every great developer you know got there by solving problems they were unqualified to solve until they actually did it. And once they did it, they were qualified, right? That's kind of how it is. That's how this industry goes. All right. So let's go ahead and open it up to questions. Let's see what we've got. Harry Sanders says, hi, Steve, you rock. No, you rock, Harry. Rock. All right. Message retracted by Archie. Archie, oh boy, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to pronounce your last name. I'll give it a shot here. Buenagua? Archie Buenagua. Hi, Mr. Steve. Where can I send my question if I have a question in MS Access? Can I send it to your email? Archie, basically what I've got now is if you want to be a member, you can be a member for just $5 a month. And with that $5 a month, you get direct access to me. You can fill out a form and you submit that to me, and you can submit your questions directly to me and I answer them. So if you want to sign up, all you have to do is you just go to my YouTube channel, which you guys should know by now. Looks like this. And you just click on that join button. And in fact, I think below every one of my videos also you'll see this join button. And you click on this, you fill it out, and for $5 a month, you guys can come and ask me questions directly using a special form that I have for members. It's just a better situation than trying to send comments. I typically don't respond to emails just simply because I get that you guys need help, but if I start making that a thing, then I'm spending a lot of time helping a lot of people for free, which I don't mind doing that on the YouTube channel. But I've got to figure out how to spend my time wisely to help the most amount of people. And if people are willing to join, right, to spend money in order to join, just $5 a month, then that type of dedication, I think, deserves to be repaid by me answering them questions directly. Okay. So what else we got for questions here? Mrs. See Why I'm So Fly. I've always had a love of technology and how it's applied. However, given the fact that I don't have a degree but tons of experience, I'm at a career impasse. Oh. I have QMS, IS, technical contract review, etc. I don't code a lot, but I can explain or model for some beautiful code to be written. I don't know how to communicate how my experience is relevant. Well, let me ponder that one for a little bit here, Mrs. See Why I'm So Fly, because I think that your best route would be to demonstrate it, right? Have something that's demonstratable. Have a like a GitHub repository, or have some products that you can demonstrate. Because I think demonstratable knowledge is really important. Also, in my 10 reasons why you didn't get hired, one of the important things that I mentioned about the resume is the skills, the emphasis of the skills. That should be the first thing. And on my resumes, it's always been the first thing. Well, I shouldn't say it's always, but since I wised up on how to get hired, I've put my skills at the top of the list. It's like my name, set of skills, right? And then you qualify those skills later on. Like, this is why I know these things. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a job experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be school education. It can be just, hey, here's some products I've written. Here's some stuff that I've done. And this proves that I know these skills. So I think your emphasis may not necessarily need to be on experience. Maybe it needs to be more on skills. Like, these are the things that I know. And when you can have a conversation with somebody and prove that you know the details of that particular skill or that particular item, then you're going to be proving it to them. And it doesn't even matter how you got that experience. You can demonstrate it through a conversation. So I would just say that's probably where I would go, is try to build up kind of this, I guess, knowledge base or some sort of products or set of places you can point to that say, here's stuff that I've done that proves my knowledge, and you can come talk to me about it at any time. All right. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. It's already 8 o'clock. My 30 minutes that I should be spending is up. Sometimes I go a little too far beyond that, but I hope you guys enjoyed this topic. I know it's a difficult one for a lot of people to overcome. I hope this video helps some of you guys. I hope that it gives you some ideas of what you can do in order to overcome this problem. And it is spelled imposter with an O-O-R. I know a lot of people spell it I-M-P-O-S-T-E-R, and that's incorrect. It's actually impostor, not imposter, which is weird. I for the longest time, I was trying to spell it wrong too. But it is the imposter syndrome, and you can overcome it. It's not impossible to do. Again, most people experience it. Most people have experienced it or are experiencing it in some shape or form. So don't worry about it. It's okay. Like, you can push through it. Don't be afraid to be wrong. I think that's a big one. Don't be afraid to be wrong, and don't be afraid to be wrong publicly. Like, let other people knowing that you don't know something often in some ways kind of endears them, and they'll like want to help you. They'll want to talk to you about things. And then they start talking to you, and then they suddenly start realizing, actually, you know a lot more than they kind of thought maybe you did. And then you start to feel like, hey, I know more than I thought I did, because look at this conversation I'm having. All right. Hopefully that helps you guys. I do want to go over and thank all of the members that I have. I want to thank all of you guys that have subscribed, and all of you that are now, members and have joined that $5 a month thing. I really appreciate that, because honestly, it keeps me going. It gives me a reason to wake up and do these things in the morning, knowing that I've got you guys watching me, and that I can do something helpful for you guys every day. I hope you guys enjoy this Coffee with Steves. I really do. It's been kind of one of those things, is a little experiment, seeing how it works out, see if I'm building any sort of traction, getting anybody to converse with me. And again, don't forget, Fridays are open mics. So you guys it's a live chat. You guys can come in. I'll send you guys a link on Fridays that'll allow you guys to just kind of hop into the Hangouts with me and chat with me as well. All right, so I want to go ahead and thank my subscribers, or I should say my members. Olubayu Olasakin, Mrs. CY I'm So Fly, thank you so much for watching this morning. I appreciated the question. SAA Consulting, Rishi, Kanan Krishnan, For Technical, Samuel Niktesi Tabiri, Jim Griggs, HRU Bricks, Ron Howe, Cormac Kinan, and Kent Dutro. Thank you so much, everybody, for being members. Again, if you also want to be a member and get your name mentioned at the end of every video that I record, then all you have to do is just go to my channel and subscribe. So that's, once again, just so we can demonstrate this. If you go to my channel, you click on the join button, you click on that $5 a month, you get direct access to me. You can ask me questions all day. You can just ask me questions about what's going on with your database or what's going on with your application, and we can start a conversation about it. You can send me, your database itself or your application, or direct me to your code base, maybe if you're posting it on GitHub, or if you want to send me screenshots of an error you're getting. Like, we can actually start a conversation around that topic rather than just trying to do a back and forth in the comments, which just never really seems to be all that successful. All right. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today. Let me find that little button. There we go. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful, what is it today? Wednesday? Tuesday. I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. I should have known that. Yeah. I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. And don't forget, drink your coffee, right? Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.